stories that are both a delight to read and to hear. Pressed it to test it. Some children press buttons, it's more than just play. They must press one, at least one, every day. They won't flip a switch, twist a dial or knob. The habit they have is really most odd. Not with his fingers and not with his toes. Dempsey Nesbit pressed buttons with only his nose. He pressed it, until soon after that, the end of his nose went really quite flat. Larry Richard's small brother, Gary, got lost in a storm that was scary. Larry pressed a small button to test what it did, and the back of the vacuum popped off the dust lid. The room was all dusted, it swirled and gusted, the house disappeared. For an hour it blew, and the dust cloud was seen for a mile or two. When the dust finally settled, Larry's brother was gone. It could have been worse if the vacuum was turned on. Kenny found a small button behind the refrigerator door and pressed it to test it. He had to know more. He kept up his pressing and asked everyone, "Does it go off or does it stay on?" He just wouldn't stop. Each day was the same. His mother screamed, "Stop! Please, no more of this game. That's enough. When the refrigerator door is closed, the light always goes off." Myrtle Carmichael lives high on the top, in the tallest apartment, 46 stories up. Myrtle Carmichael pressed a button that's red. "I pressed it to test it." That's what she said. On her way down, the button was there. She gave all the people a terrible scare. The elevator stopped, alarm bells rang out, and everyone in the elevator started to shout. Myrtle can't ride anymore. She now climbs the stairs to the 46th floor. Every time Christopher Tate goes out, there's a sitter to watch, just as a lookout. Pressing that button was wrong. The swimming pool drained and all the swimmers were gone. Sherry wanted to test one, but no one knows why. There weren't very many, if any, she'd try. She didn't like red, this was true. No matter what color, it had to be blue. If it was round, it had to be square. If it was here, it had to be there. She never could find a button just right. She wants to press one, but only one that she likes. The picture flipped, the color was wrong, the sound was too loud, and faces were long. Abby Appleby pressed buttons when no one could see. She liked pressing buttons on their family TV. Louisa Marino walked in her sleep. Louisa dreamed about buttons all over her street. She woke the whole neighborhood up in the night. Doorbells are just buttons. I'm sure that that's right. When the garage door came down, Dave's dad was much louder than their new family car, the Turbo Thunder Clouder. Danny Sheepwatch's dad owned the junkyard in town. There were lots of old buttons just lying around. Pressing each one every chance he would get, none of the buttons made people upset. Then he saw a small button below a small spout. He pressed it to test it, and water came out. He pressed it again. That was the mistake. Now the town fishes in Sheepwash Lake. Marty Stinton liked amusement park rides. There wasn't a ride that he hadn't tried. He'd stay on each one, no matter how quick. He rode all the worst and never was sick. Then he spotted a small button on the front of his car. It was shiny yellow and shaped like a star. Reaching and stretching, he pressed it at last. The ride car sped up and was moving too fast. The car started swirling, rolling, and swooping, bobbing and spinning, whipping and looping. He won't ever press the button again. Most of his lunch was mistaken for rain. Ugh. The sign said, "Hold hands and stay close to the rail." It only left out one small detail. "Don't press the button" is something it needs, even if Billy still doesn't read. Some people tumbled and others just jumped. When the escalator stopped, they ended up clumped. The teacher said to the class of 22, "Don't wander off, whatever you do." And the man told them all, "Don't press that small button over there on the wall." 21 of them pressed it. But just before Mickey did, it began to spark. When all the lights went out, it got dark. Now the whole city doesn't have power. All the rest of the class blamed it on Mickey McGower. Don't press any buttons, especially if they're new. It may cause some trouble whenever you do. If, for some reason, you think that you must, only press buttons you know you can trust. Don't even think about it.